Welcome to Croxton Family Racing. I'm your host, Adam Croxton, and with me, as always, Chip Monkington. Chip.
Thanks, Adam. It's great to be here again at the League of Champions. First up today is going to be Precious Metals seated 9 against Team Mazda-Subaru seated 8. Team Police Squad seated 7th against Smash Brothers seated 10th. Team Porsche seated 7th against Team Nissan seated 10th. And Code Red seated 9th against Passenger Transport seated 25th.
Thanks for the rundown, Chip. First up is Precious Metals versus Team Mazda-Subaru. Up for Precious Metals is Gold Rollin' Solo.
He's one of the most consistent performers, hitting bucket 2 every single time.
And he stays consistent, Chip. Another 5-point finish in bucket 2.
That should help his individual standings, and it'll help take his team to an early 5-point lead.
That's true, Chip, but we have some pretty consistent performers on the other side as well. Leading off for the Mazda-Subaru team is the 89 Mazda-Subaru RX-7 FC35.
And with that performance, he'll get a 5-point bucket 2 finish, tying the teams at 5-5.
Precious Metals came out strong, but Team Mazda-Subaru answers back. We got ourselves a race on our hands.
The 9 seed and the 8 seed so close that it's going to take a screw up from one of these teams for any of the other ones to find an opening.
Not how I would phrase that, Chip, but you're right. The Gold Scorcher for Precious Metals has another clean run into bucket 2 for 5 points. He will not be the one to mess it up for his team.
And as another one of our consistent runners, he hits a 5-point bucket 2 finish, taking them to 10 over Team Mazda-Subaru with 5, with the orange 1968 Mazda Cosmos Sport up next.
And with a disaster right out of the gate, he flies off the track. He will receive no points for his team, and that is going to hurt them coming down the line.
I agree, Adam. I think that screw-up is going to cost him for the rest of the match.
Might be a little early to tell that yet, Chip. Precious Metals Silver El Segundo Coupe is up next.
Well, it was a clean run until he hobbled out of the jail, only into bucket 1 for 4 points.
I agree it wasn't the best of finishes, Chip, but it does take his team to 14 over Team Mazda-Subaru's 5. With the white Subaru WRX STI up next.
And he's going to need something real special if he wants his team to get back in this one. And it's a clean run. 5 points, bucket 2. That's going to be enough to take them to 10, but not enough to really put pressure on Precious Metals.
I agree, Chip. And with their lower performers coming up next, it's going to be hard to get back into this one.
Audacious for the Precious Metals is up. And he has a nice launch through the loop and into bucket 2 for 5 points. All but sealing the victory for Precious Metals.
Yeah, with a 19-10 lead, Chip, I think you're right. It's going to take something extremely special from the Mazda RX-7 to come back for Team Mazda-Subaru.
With no finishes to date, it would seem that that's a big expectation from him.
Indeed, Chip. He has a clean launch into the loop, but he spills out onto his nose. 0 points for his team, and that is going to seal their fate.
Despite a manual transmission, he did not give a clutch performance. Next up is the Mixed Metals Lucid Air for Precious Metals.
And he also spills out of the loop, tumbling across the table. 0 points, keeping the Precious Metals at 19. Team Mazda-Subaru at 10.
And last up for Team Mazda-Subaru is the blue Subaru WRX STI. He can only score points for himself. It's not going to do any good for his team. Not enough buckets, not enough points.
And as it turns out, not enough speed. Doesn't even make the launcher in the loop. 0 points for him. That's how they'll end this one with 10.
And next up for Precious Metals is the gold Lucid Air.
Good looking car, but not the best performer. He has not scored yet in this tournament. And he gets another 0 points with the DNF, much like his counterpart.
Different paint job, same result. Last up for the Precious Metals is the Chrysler Thunderbolt.
Another car with 0 points in this tournament so far. And he gets another 0 points again with the DNF, but it's not going to matter. Precious Metals end up with 19, Team Mazda-Subaru with 10. Precious Metals are going to take this one.
And our drone flyover takes us to see bucket 2 with 5 cars finishing there. 3 Precious Metals and 2 Team Mazda-Subaru. 1 in bucket 1 for Precious Metals, and the rest of them end up back here by the loop with the orange 1968 Mazda Cosmos Sport finishing all the way back here.
Final score is Precious Metals 19, Team Mazda-Subaru 10. Team Mazda-Subaru are eliminated. And the next up is the Police Squad versus Smash Brothers.
The 07 Chevy Tahoe is up first for Police Squad, who is heavily favored in this bout. A lot of very good performers on Police Squad. And the Chevy Tahoe gets another clean performance in the bucket 2 for 5 points for his team.
Right you are, Chip. Those top 5 for the Police Squad have all scored points and are on the leaderboard for the individual title.
Speaking of which, the Frisk Porsche 911 Carrera RS 2.7 for the Smash Brothers up next.
And a clean run from him gets him to bucket 2 and 5 points, tying it up 5-5. Well, they may not be heavily favored in this one, but they are some of the fan favorites here, with all of them being custom painted by my children.
I tip the acorn cap goes to the artist. Next up is the Alpha Pursuit for Police Squad.
Indeed, Chip, and might I say that cap looks good on you. Alpha Pursuit looks good with 5 points into bucket 2.
I have one in every shade of brown, Adam.
Can't say I'm surprised there, Chip. And with that, the Alpha Pursuit puts the Police Squad ahead by 5, with Shadow the Hedgehog El Segundo Coupe up next for the Smash Brothers.
Let's see if our hedgehog brethren can keep it even with the Police Squad.
I'm actually pretty sure you're more closely related to squirrels than hedgehogs there, Chip. And with a 5-point bucket 2 finish, he's going to take his team to 10, tying it with Police Squad.
That's blasphemy, Adam. Squirrels are merely tree-dwelling, unscented skunks.
I'm pretty sure that's wrong, Chip. Next up is the Gotham City 2011 Dodge Charger RT. And like the two before him, he gets a clean run into bucket 2 for 5 points, taking his team to 15.
You're right, of course, Adam, and I would hate to besmirch the good name of skunks, so I apologize there.
I wasn't aware skunks had a good name there, Chip. Next up for Smash Brothers is Pikachu, 1968 Mazda Cosmo Sport.
Go Pikachu! Use Quick Attack. Bucket 2 finish for 5 points.
Not sure your command's working this here, Chip, but 5 points for a bucket 2 finish indeed. 15 points, tying it up with Police Squad.
What do you mean it doesn't work? It absolutely worked. Bucket 2 finish says it all.
You might be right, Chip, but the Mustang GT concept might have something to say about it here.
Well, whatever he says, you're not going to hear it over the crowd chanting Pikachu, Pikachu, Pikachu. But his clean run does give him a 5-point bucket 2 finish.
That it does, Chip, and with that 5 points, the Police Squad moved back into the lead with 20 over Smash Brothers 15, with the Kirby 32 Ford up next.
Well, with that extra bag of air, maybe he can float himself into a further bucket, but he has been wildly inconsistent so far.
Well, that wild inconsistency just paid dividends for his team with a wildly unexpected 6-point bucket 3 finish. And with that, the Smash Brothers move into the lead with 21 over Police Squad's 20, with the Cadillac Sienne for the Police Squad up next.
Another inconsistent one, but he doesn't have that extra puff of air to get him into another bucket. Or any bucket for that matter, 0 points, DNF.
And what a heartbreaker of a finish to get through the loop and then to fly off the track before the jail.
Choke! Choke!
It sure did look that way, didn't it, Chip? Next up is the Inkling 2017 Pagani Huayra Roadster. And he does not make it through the loop. 0 points for a DNF.
It's not looking good for Police Squad here. The fan favorite Smash Brothers might actually take this one. Go Underdogs.
Next up for Police Squad is going to be the Gray Police Cruiser. He hasn't finished yet. And he doesn't again for 0 points. Not going to help his team out. Still 21-20 in favor of the Smash Brothers.
Kirby's floating finish into bucket 3 might be the deciding factor for this one, with Yoshi Track Manga trying to increase those points.
A scoring run here would probably put the last nail in the coffin. But he doesn't do it, falls out of the loop, 0 points, leaving the door open for Police Squad.
That door is all but slammed closed by the Smash Brothers. The rest of these Police Squad cars have not scored any points, and I don't see them doing it now, with the 1980 Pontiac Bonneville up next.
I didn't say it wasn't a slim chance, and the 1980 Pontiac Bonneville didn't take it, 0 points with the DNF.
I would bet my crystal ball that this one is going to go in favor of the Smash Brothers.
I can't believe you'd put your crystal ball on the line there, Chip.
Plenty more where that came from, Adam. Black Police Cruiser's up next for Police Squad, and he gets a DNF. 0 points.
Well, I can't help but agree with you there, Chip. It's 21-20, and the Ford Police is the last one to go for Police Squad, and he has not done anything so far.
Well, consistency has been a theme for this one, and this guy is consistently bad. 0 points.
Well, it turns out you're right, Chip. And this one will end with Police Squad with 20, Smash Brothers 21.
Turning to the drone footage, we see 1 in bucket 3, sealing the deal for Smash Brothers. We have 4 in bucket 2 for Police Squad, and 3 in bucket 2 for Smash Brothers. The Cadillac Sienne finished right before the jail, and the rest either fell out of the loop or didn't even make it.
Police Squad with 20, Smash Brothers with 21. The Police Squad are eliminated.
Next match on the day is Team Nissan versus Team Porsche, with the Nissan Silvia S15 leading off for Team Nissan.
And he has a clean launch, clean into the loop, and clean off the table into bucket 2 for 5 points to start it off for his team.
And like cars running over the carcass of a squirrel on the road, his consistent 5-point bucket 2 finishes never get old.
Cringeworthy as always, Chip. 5 points to start it off for Team Nissan, with the white Porsche 911 Carrera RS 2.7 up next for Team Porsche.
And he sails easily into bucket 2 for 5 points, tying it up 5-5.
Well, those 5 points will help his team out, tying it up, and it'll improve his individual standings as well.
Can't wait to see the individual standings after this round. The red Nissan Leaf Nismo RCO2 is up next.
I couldn't agree more, Chip. With every round, those individual standings, the gaps will widen in between each place. We'll start to see who's going to stay on top and who won't. But the red Nissan Leaf Nismo RCO2 is going to stay up there with 5 points in bucket 2 for his team.
Team Nissan retakes the lead with 10 over Team Porsche with 5, with the Porsche 911 Speedster up next.
And he gets a clean launch out the gate into the loop, out of the jail and into bucket 2, tying it up 10-10 with his 5-point bucket 2 finish.
Another consistent bucket 2 finisher. Let's see if the blue Nissan Leaf Nismo RCO2 can get a bucket 2 finish as well.
Well, he'll need some kind of points to keep the pressure on Team Porsche. And he has a clean launch into the loop, but stutters out of the gate and comes to a complete stop. 3 points for the completion, taking them to 13. Team Porsche's 10.
Team Porsche's Porsche 934 Turbo RSR is going to need to do something in this one. He hasn't finished yet.
He has to get at least a completion to keep this one tied. But he does not do it. 0 points, and that will seal this one. Team Nissan's going to take it.
Team Nissan 13, Team Porsche 10. Another upset for the day with the light blue Nissan Patrol Custom up next.
Absolutely, Chip. Unfortunately, his performance does not match his awesome paint job, and he gets 0 points with the DNF.
He came off the track almost as soon as he started. Maybe he didn't want to ruin his paint job and just hit the brakes. Next up is the Nissan Turbo Crash Car for Team Nissan.
And unsurprisingly, the Nissan Turbo Crash Car gets 0 points with the DNF. Still 13-10, with the last one to go for Team Nissan being the blue Nissan Patrol Custom.
I give it a 1 in 10 chance he makes it around the curve.
I'm sure the drivers here love the harsh dose of reality you love to dish out, and he also gets 0 points with a worse finish than his counterpart.
Another shocker. Team Nissan with 13, Team Porsche with 10.
And the overhead drone footage shows 2 apiece in bucket 2, and the deciding factor being the blue Nissan Leaf Nismo RCO2 there in the completed stage, with the rest of them ending in the loop or well behind.
Well behind is an understatement. Team Nissan take this one 13 to Team Porsche's 10. Team Porsche is eliminated.
And our last matchup of the day will see Code Red, seated 9, take on the passenger transport, seated 25, with Rip Rod leading it off for Code Red.
And with a clean launch, clean through the loop, clean out the jail, and into bucket 2, he finishes like he has every other time with 5 points.
We've had consistent leadoffs all day long. Let's see if the red time-a-taxi for the passenger transports can follow suit.
He finished bucket 3 last time, winning it for his team. If he does it again, he may give him a chance.
And he has a clean run, but only into bucket 2, so he will tie them, not taking the lead, but still keeping his team in it, 5-5.
He hit off that back rim. A little bit of a heartbreaker, not quite making it into bucket 3.
Good observation, Chip. Next up is the maroon fast feline for Code Red.
Another play on words, feline. That's not funny though. Felines are never funny. Very dangerous. Nothing to be joked about.
Well, all jokes aside, he does get 5 points. Makes it into bucket 2, taking his team to 10.
The only time it's funny is when a feline chases a squirrel up a power line and 10 lives are lost.
10 lives, Chip?
9 from the cat, 1 from the squirrel. Anyway, 0 points for the shoebox taxi. Did not finish.
Incredible transition as always, Chip. But right you are. It is still 10-5 Code Red over the passenger transports, with the race bait 308 up next for the Code Red.
Something tells me this one's gonna go fast. And it does. 0 points, DNF.
Well, that'll keep Code Red at 10, but the passenger transports don't have anybody else that's scored a point yet, so they need a miracle if they're going to come back in this one. Maybe that miracle will be the street surfing school bus.
Well, it turns out the only miracle is that he actually made it into the loop. 0 points for him, DNF. Still 10-5, with the teal surfing school bus up next.
Well, I don't know about a miracle, Chip, but 0 points is definitely right. And the teal surfing school bus also gets 0 points and also makes it into the loop.
Well, wonders never cease. Still 10-5, and probably no chance for passenger transports to come back on this one.
I'm pretty sure you're right there with the glitter limousine giving his best.
I'm sure he is. And it's 0 points.
Well, our 25-seated team made it further than anybody expected, but it's not looking good for them. It's still 10-5, with the city mayor limousine up next.
The crystal ball says he doesn't have a chance. And the crystal ball is right. 0 points with the DNF.
Wait a second, Chip. I thought your crystal ball only predicted winners.
Exactly, and I didn't see him anywhere in it.
Makes sense, Chip. Last up for the passenger transports is the 2007 Cadillac Escalade Taxi. And he gets 0 points, and that'll do it. Code Red is going to take this one, 10-5 over the passenger transports.
Well, it doesn't matter how many cars on your team. It's like it doesn't matter how many nuts you have. They're all rotten.
True enough, Chip. And our drone footage shows us 3 in bucket 2, 2 for Code Red, 1 for passenger transports, and the rest of them fell out, moving all the way back to the Escalade on the back end.
Code Red finishes with 10, passenger transports with 5. Passenger transports are eliminated.
Looking at our Western bracket, we see Precious Metals moving on. We'll see who they duke it out with when Mach 1 faces Marvel and DC.
I'm still looking forward to the 40s and 50s taking on the big blocks.
Right you are, Chip. Big blocks have come on strong as of late.
In the Eastern bracket, we see Smash Brothers moving on. They'll take on the winner of Engine Exposure versus Double It.
And over in the Southern bracket, Team Nissan moves on. They'll be taking on the winner in the Corvettes versus Stingrays match.
That might even be a bigger rivalry than the Team Ferrari Little Italy matchup.
Certainly could, Chip. In our Northern bracket, we see Code Red move on. They'll be facing off against the winner of the High Five versus Cards matchup.
Some great matchups coming up, Adam. And the round of 32 continues.
That it does, Chip. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and like the channel.
Comment and share our content with your friends. For Croxton Family Racing, I'm Chip Monkington.
And I'm Adam Croxton, signing off. We'll see you next time. Stay safe. Be free.